Here is what we know about Iran's response thus far. By the way, Trump says he's totally rejecting it. It's unacceptable, and they will not be laughing anymore. They're laughing at us, and blah blah blah. And Lindsey Graham is weighing in and cheering on the rejection of this deal. And of course, Netanyahu tonight on CBS 60 Minutes also is telling you who's boss and on whose orders this is going to happen. So, from what we understand from the Wall Street Journal, Iran has said they want the end of the naval blockade, freedom to export oil, ceasefire in Lebanon, sanctions removed, Iranian control of the Strait of Hormuz to continue, frozen assets released. On the nuclear file, they're saying that part of the uranium could be diluted, the rest transferred to a third country. Now, that is a change. They are conceding that they may transfer a part of it to a third country, but not the United States, with a guarantee that the uranium is brought back if talks collapse or if Washington exits the agreement. They will not have direct talks, they'll continue to go via Pakistan. Nuclear negotiations only during the 30 days after the war ends and not before. Wall Street Journal calls it a lengthy response that leaves gaps between the two sides. The bottom line seems to be that Iran is publicly confirming the three red lines it has announced: Hormuz, enrichment, uranium to the US, and offered concessions where it had room, which is partial dilution, third country instead of US, and guarantee of return of uranium if the agreement falls apart. The thing is that Iran has consistently said that Lebanon must be part of the deal. They have been absolutely consistent from day one about that. And that is why you see Netanyahu ratcheting up his attacks on Lebanon. Today, they collapsed a residential building, killing several children, and entire families were wiped out. So, there is no big surprise. Lebanon has always been part of what Iran has demanded, and everything else sounds like we have heard it before, so not much new except for they're willing to dilute the uranium and they're willing to partially ship it to a third country, and that is something that they are willing to meet halfway. Robert Kagan, who is an Iran hawk, has written a piece in The Atlantic. And Wali Nasser thinks that it is possibly the best article he's read that captures how Iran sees things and why it is not submitting to Trump's demands in the talks. And I quote from the article: "There will be no return to the status quo ante, no ultimate American triumph that will undo or overcome the harm done. The Strait of Hormuz will not be open, as it once was. With control of the strait, Iran emerges as the key player in the region and one of the key players in the world. The roles of China and Russia as Iran's allies are strengthened, the role of the United States substantially diminished. Far from demonstrating American prowess, as supporters of the war have repeatedly claimed, the conflict has revealed an America that is unreliable and incapable of finishing what it started. That is going to set off a chain reaction around the world as friends and foes adjust to America's failure. President Trump likes to talk about who has the cards, but whether he has any good ones left to play is not clear. The United States and Israel pounded Iran with devastating effectiveness for 37 days, killing much of the country's leadership and destroying the bulk of its military, yet couldn't collapse the regime or exact even the smallest concession from it. Now the Trump administration hopes that blockading Iran's ports will accomplish what massive force could not. It's possible, of course, but a regime that could not be brought to its knees by 5 weeks of unrelenting military attack is unlikely to buckle in response to economic pressure alone. Close quote. This analysis is consistent with every other right-minded analyst and Iran watcher. And that is why some of us have been saying for a while that the US has lost. Israel has lost. The US-Israel war has been lost. And now Trump and Netanyahu are together flailing about, trying to figure out what to do. Like I said, this makes both of them 10x more dangerous. Because Trump enjoys watching things blow up, he may very well try to blow things up. The only thing that stops him is his China visit. The only thing that stops him is the fact that he's heading to China next week. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe he's going to tell Netanyahu, go ahead and you strike them and we will have plausible deniability. The problem with that is nobody believes that either. The US plausible deniability is nothing but garbage and bullshit, including the effort by Israel to create a base in Iraq. It would not have been possible unless the US provided cover and helped them along the way. So France and Britain think that they can send warships into the Strait of Hormuz and call it a defensive maneuver. That once hostilities have ended, they are going to escort ships. Iran is seeing that as an entirely provocative gesture. And when Iran said it is provocative and they will take the right to attack these ships, Macron backed off. He's in Egypt. And he said, no, we have no intention of being provocative or aggressive. This is purely defensive and will happen in the event that hostilities end. The problem is this only ignites more hostilities. So I don't know what France and Britain are up to, but right now, being more provocative is probably not the smartest thing to do. And yes, oil futures are up by $3 to $4 and probably will continue to rise because the vitriol from Trump just seems to be increasing. But he's flailing about, abusing everybody and anything he can come up with. This is what is happening. Sunday night, May 10th, on we go with absolutely no resolution to any of this, because I say again, regardless of Trump getting testy with reporters, and I believe it was either the Axios reporter or the Fox News reporter where he said the agreement between Iran and the US is solely his business. That's what he said when he was asked what he discussed with Netanyahu over the phone. He said this is entirely the agreement between the US and Iran is entirely his business. So the fact that everybody is now saying that it sounds like Netanyahu is the boss here, Trump is starting to realize that that is not a good look for him. Well, all I can say is Netanyahu's 60 Minutes interview on CBS News is probably not a good look for Trump.